Hey guys, welcome to Boxing Squared for boxing news and views from around the internet. And another heavyweight news mashup video today, starting with Evander Holyfield, the legend announcing he's coming back to the ring for charity. So see here on screen, this is a post on a social media, and there is a video here which I'll play in a second as I read some of his statements. So he says, "Are you ready? The moment you've all been waiting for. The champ is back. I'd like to announce that I will be making a comeback to the ring. I'm training to promote a charity that's very close to me. Our #UniteForOurFight campaign aims to fulfill the void the pandemic has created on access to resources our youth needs for emotional development and education. Visit uniteforourfight.org, followed by a bunch of hashtags." So Evander Holyfield, one of a number of ex-champions, legends, former contenders that has announced that he's coming back to the ring in some way, shape or form.
I'm back.
Mike Tyson obviously having done something similar as well recently, saying that he's looking to be in some charity exhibitions. And people will sort of connect the dots here and ask, are these two going to have some sort of charity exhibition? And if they did, there would be a lot of interest in that. And in a video I just recently did on Mike Tyson, some of the news floating around regarding him, I sort of said that this would be a fight between the two, that even as a charity match where there's not a lot on the line and not a lot of aggression potentially, it's more just a friendly sort of event, there still would be a lot of interest. A lot of people would still want to see that and pay for it, about 20 or so years on from their second fight. So Evander Holyfield coming back, and this follows not just Tyson, but there's a number of other names in the past year or two actually, and some of the names, I know Riddick Bowe was looking to come back. We've sort of said it's probably best that they stay retired, that they don't come back for a pro fight. But I guess Holyfield was saying that this is a charity sort of deal, so it's probably not going to be as serious as a pro sort of fight would be, but we'll have to wait and see on that score and whether Mike Tyson is involved. But just on Mike Tyson, Tyson Fury's father, John Fury, has heard that Mike Tyson is coming back and he's called him out.
But let me tell you something, Mike Tyson is worth doing charity with. He's a proper king of a champion. He's a proper man, tried and tested. I'll fight Mike Tyson, he's making a comeback. I know Mike Tyson mentioning my boy's name every 5 minutes. Here I am. John Fury is hiding from no man, not even the king of the old men. Mike Tyson. I will fight Mike Tyson. Do you hear that then? Because I will not be denied. I will die in a fight. I'm as game as an American Yankee cock. I will die before I'll give in.
Meanwhile, Mike Tyson has also been offered $20 million to compete in the Bare Knuckle Fighting Championship. And as reported by Heavy.com, President of the BKFC, David Feldman, says that while we did make a guaranteed offer of $20 million for Mike Tyson to fight, we're open to many different options as how we can work together. Obviously, the excitement of seeing Mike's video showing himself training and desire to participate in an exhibition inspired us to reach out and make the offer. And if Tyson went to the Bare Knuckle Fighting Championship, that's a pretty brutal version of the sport. And I think a much, higher chance of getting injured and hurt in that discipline of the sport. Mike Tyson in demand right now, but this offer from Australia that was also floated out there, an Australian promoter saying, come over to Australia for $1 million, fight either Paul Gallen, Barry Hall or Sonny Bill Williams. Jeff Fennick, Mike Tyson's former trainer, has said, while it's great publicity, it's not going to happen. And this is to the Melbourne Age. He says they're offering him $500,000 or $1 million. He could get more than 20 to do it in Saudi Arabia. Why would he come here? Let me tell you something. If he hits Sonny Bill Williams or Paul Gallen, he will be up for manslaughter. I'm serious. If he punched Paul Gallen, he could kill him. These guys have never been punched by somebody like Mike. You see what he's doing on the pads. Imagine Mike hitting one of those guys with one of those uppercuts. More than likely, they'll be in the morgue the next day. Fighting Sonny Bill? Who has Sonny Bill fought? Sonny Bill won't even fight Paul Gallen because I don't believe he can beat him. So it's clear, though, in the age of Corona, as I mentioned in other videos, things that maybe wouldn't have got as much legs as they have in this current time, they are really bubbling to the surface. There's a lot of interest in these veteran heavyweights who have been retired for some considerable time. Tyson having not laced up the gloves for 15 years now. But someone who's looking to lace up the gloves shortly, for the first time in the professional ranks, is Justis Huni, the top amateur who medalled at the most recent World Championship. He's put a post up on his social media. See here on screen the graphic. It's time 2020, Justis Huni. He says, announcement. I'm happy to announce I will be turning professional as soon as the restrictions are lifted. I will still be able to compete at the next Olympics due to rule changes. More about my future will be announced over the next few weeks, followed by some hashtags. So Justis Huni, who is a top talent coming through at the moment, and he's very young as well, just in his early 20s. There is a school of thought that perhaps he could have even waited till after the next Olympics, not being the Tokyo Games, but the one after. He would still only be about, 24 or so. But obviously he wants to turn professional. He wants to get his career rolling. And what that will look like and how soon that will be is anyone's guess. In terms of Australia, obviously, they never went into a full lockdown compared to New Zealand, where I am, but there's still, obviously a lot of restrictions in place there. A number of cases, there's still cases. How soon before boxing and crowds and that sort of thing will be allowed? Would they actually have Huni fighting in a sort of studio environment, no fans or something like that? It would seem to me that might sort of defeat the purpose of trying to build him a little bit of hype and buzz. But I guess in these times, needs must, and if they have to, I guess they will. But they'll have to pay him, and how do they recoup the costs? Would it be some sort of pay-per-view if he's on a card with some other notable names? I don't know, just a few things that I've been thinking about. But a lot of people are looking at Justis Huni and his talent level going, he's a young guy who's on the rise, and he might be able to do something in the heavyweight division. Moving on, where exactly an Anthony Joshua and Kubrat Pulev fight will occur is anyone's guess at this point, with the promoter Eddie Hearn looking around the world for different options if they can't have it in the UK. So he told Boxing Social, these countries are going to be up and running a lot quicker than our country or America, and he's referring to the Middle East, options like maybe Dubai or Saudi Arabia. He says, would Saudi or Dubai or Abu Dhabi be ready to stage an event in September or October? I think 100%. If we can get a live gate for the bigger fights, we have to look elsewhere. Do I really want AJ to box behind closed doors? No, not really, no. What he has produced in terms of that live audience, I will be doing everything I can to make sure he doesn't fight behind closed doors. But if this goes ahead for another 6 or 12 months, we won't have a choice. And actually, in an article just in recent days, he had also mentioned New Zealand and Australia, citing that New Zealand had 0 cases, and that was a couple of days in a row. That is correct, but we have since had cases and another death. But I would also say, in regards to that, some of these promoters, before they throw out countries' names, probably need to do a little bit more research and not drink, say, in New Zealand's case, the David Higgins Kool-Aid. David Higgins has been talking about New Zealand possibly opening up faster than other countries. But when you look at the numbers itself, that might give you encouragement. But I would counter that by saying, in the New Zealand context, because this is where I am, I've been following the news and all that sort of stuff, we are still at an alert level where there's not much going on in terms of anything. And the next step down, mass gatherings of more than 100 people are banned, and that alert level could be in place for some months. So social distancing and all these things that are wrapped around it might prevent any big scale events happening in New Zealand for some considerable time. We'll have to wait and see on that. But yeah, David Higgins obviously pushing a potential Joseph Parker versus Junior Farr or someone else fight. I just don't know if that's going to happen anytime soon. Towards the end of the year, that might be more realistic, but in the next couple of months, forget about it. And Kubrat Pulev's co-promoter, Ivalo Gotsev, he's also been telling media that they've been scouting venues for an Anthony Joshua and Pulev fight overseas, outside of the UK, saying that while Eddie Hearn is looking at options in the Middle East, they're looking at different places around the world, including a Roman amphitheatre in Croatia that could potentially host events. Open air, you might be able to have a crowd there. There could be some things put in place. We'll have to see where things go on that score. Daniel Dubois is agreeing with his promoter that a Deontay Wilder fight is one that he could take soon, and he believes that he would win. Frank Warren, his promoter, said earlier this week Daniel is the best heavyweight prospect on planet Earth. He'll have far too much for Deontay Wilder, going on to add he wouldn't look to make it in his next fight, but maybe in 2 fights' time. And Dubois, he stated, "I've got more tools. I've got plenty of tools to use. I'll find a way to win and break him down." This is what the heavyweight game is all about, knockouts and exciting nights. It'll be interesting when it happens. And in terms of that fight ever happening, I'm just not so sure. I mean, I like the idea of it down the line, but at that point that it could happen, is Deontay Wilder even in the sport? And is there the money there to make it happen? These things do count after all. And rounding out this heavyweight news mashup video, Javan Sugarhill, who is the trainer of Russian prospect Aptil Davtaev, who has a record of 20-0-1 draw, he believes that Davtaev is one of the next big fighters that's going to make a mark in the heavyweight division. He said, "I wanted to bring him to Tyson Fury's training camp, but he had a fight scheduled the day before. He's never sparred Tyson. I wanted them to spar, but the timing wasn't right. Aptil was fighting in Russia and Tyson in Las Vegas, one day apart, so it didn't make sense to travel. He had a good performance in his last fight, keeping the things that I taught him. He was excited to box with Tyson. He wants to learn from the best. It would be a great combination because Tyson loves to teach. During his last camp, we spent time teaching the sparring partners, not just teaching Tyson." And of Davtaev, he says, "He's the big man of the house, the big heavyweight who spars with everyone, including little 199-pound guys. He doesn't just spar the big guys, he mustn't let the little guys hit him. That's part of being in the ring. You're not always punching. The things that the little guys do to him, he can carry it over and do it to someone his size. He works tremendously hard. He loves to be pushed. He never quits." What do you make of it all? Drop a comment, loud and often. Hit like, hit subscribe, follow me on Twitter, boxing_squared. I'm out.